The Mount Dora rain bomb of October 26th and 27th was an extraordinary rainfall event which shocked the Mount Dora area of Lake County. These first images show the rainfall total at the epicenter close to 18 inches of rain, with most of it falling within the 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. time frame. About 10,000 acres of land was hit with 16 to 18 inches of rain, and the impact diminished radially away from the epicenter. Over 200,000 acres of land was impacted with over 8 inches of rain, and its 4-inch impact area was an additional 800,000 acres. The rain intensity approached and exceeded 7 inches an hour, with the hourly averages being close to 7 inches at some pixels. The high-intensity rain corresponded with the large cumulative totals, suggesting a rain bomb. There was a second rain bomb in Titusville producing about 16 inches at its center, but the flooding impact was much less, as it is not landlocked like Mount Dora and Eustis in Lake County, Florida. These random rain bombs are rare in the middle of the state, but have been observed before at a smaller scale, such as September 27, 2020, when 5 smart bomb-type rainfall events occurred during a similar event. Each radar pixel is 1¼ mile square. 5 pixels exceeded 5½ inches per hour for the entire 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. period. In the same period, 3 to 8 additional pixels exceeded 5 inches per hour. Then an additional 3 to 16 pixels exceeded 4.5 inches per hour, as shown in the bar charts. Such intense rainfall in Florida has been seen in recent years, but not for such an extended duration in a non-hurricane event. So what caused this event? It has been a mystery until now, and will be explained with a series of fascinating satellites images from the GOES-19 satellite, which only went operational in April 2025. The scientific data is going to follow this introduction. It is important to understand that Hurricane Melissa is perhaps the strongest hurricane ever to make landfall in history. Jamaica was impacted by this record-setting hurricane 36 hours after the Mount Dora Eustis rain bomb. Melissa was so powerful it constructed a Berlin Wall over a linear path of the Gulf Coast of Florida. Warm, dry air occupied a corridor up to 50,000 foot high, and it was static. It was a towering wall of warm, dry air, which we call the Berlin Wall. A garden-variety fall frontal system is moving rapidly to Florida from the New Orleans area. This cold front is generating rainfall at its leading edge, as is typical due to temperature gradients. This front generated as high as 7 inches of rainfall in the Panhandle before it rained into the Berlin Wall. This front is moving at 45 to 50 miles per hour, about 42,000 feet above surface. Cold air is heavier than warm air. This moving front hits the thick Berlin Wall, and there is no moisture to generate rainfall, and it does the limbo into the static mass of warm air aloft. The front dips down and disappears off the high-level radar, and there is no rain within the Berlin Wall. However, this fast-moving and wide front of moving cold air starts to behave like a river obstructed and starts looking for the pathway of least resistance through this wall. It exploits 3 to 4 pathways like backward erosion piping, and with its incoming momentum starts venting through these narrow conduits, and the air starts exhausting at the vents at incredible velocity, moving horizontally and vertically. The incoming speed was 45 to 50 miles per hour, so it is likely the velocity of the frontal air spewing out exceeds 150 miles per hour. The air cannot get out fast enough, and a muster point is formed inside the Berlin point at the Mount Dora vent, waiting to pass through this narrow opening. The pressure builds up at the muster point like a balloon inflating, and there is rapid rise of the air mass at the vent, both due to the pressurization interior to the vent and at the vent outlet, causing the air to rise rapidly and condense like inside a hurricane. Watch the animations. This is an example of the sophisticated imagery you will see, and it's all happening in the 24,000 to 45,000 foot zone. Airplanes fly in the 40,000 FT zone, but now we have the technology to see these images at 5-minute intervals to study the phenomenon in high detail. Once the federal shutdown is over, a government meteorologist needs to check and confirm this science deconstructed by a geotechnical engineer as a public information service. The location of a ground gauge near the epicenter of the rain bomb is shown on this image. The data for this ground gauge is shown, and it records an incredible 19.2 inches of rain from about 4 p.m. to midnight on October 26, 2025. This gauge shows in high detail the rain intensity and accumulated rainfall at 5-minute increments, and the chart of this data follows, and it shows an unprecedented rainfall. The chart shows how high the rainfall intensity was and how sustained it was. High-intensity rainfall is now common in the interior of Florida, but not for such prolonged periods. The skyscraper-looking bar chart of rainfall intensity is remarkable, with 5 of the spikes exceeding 5 inches per hour. These rainfall intensities and durations are more severe than a Category 5 hurricane making landfall, since the hurricane moves on, but this weather phenomenon was static and intense. The resulting flooding impacts were worse than Hurricane Milton in the Wolf Branch Basin, where flow rates and stages have been measured continuously since the mid-1990s. The October 26, 2025 rain event exceeded the stages at Wolf Sink for Hurricane Milton, and the flow rate entering the sink was more than twice the flow rate for Hurricane Milton just a year before. The explanation of this rain event is also seemingly new territory, as the high atmospheric patterns detected at the rain bomb location adds a new dimension to weather forecasting in Florida and its unpredictability. This chart compares the flooding from Hurricane Milton to the October 26, 2025 rain event, and it is a precise scientific measure, as all of the runoff from this watershed accumulates in a landlocked depression at Wolf Swallet, which is fully instrumented. This animation shows the satellite imaging from 6 in the morning of October 26, 2025 to 1 a.m. on October 27, 2025, and the vents are labeled. The satellite image animation shows the vents discharging at high rates at the Mount Dora rain bomb, and the vent discharge coincides with the high-intensity rain. The imagery also shows other vents, including the Titusville vent and other secondary vents in South Florida. These vented locations accounted for the high rainfall, although the Mount Dora vent was dominant and extraordinary in terms of sustained high-intensity rain, which accumulated in about 6 HR, leading to flash flooding. The imaging accounts precisely for all high-intensity rain events, with the Mount Dora rain bomb being the most significant and high-profile of all. This is an animation of the satellite imagery for Band 16, which shows the flow pattern in the higher parts of our airspace below the stratosphere. The simulation starts on October 22nd at 1 p.m. and continues until October 28th at about 8 p.m. The MT Dora rain bomb is in the range 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. local time on October 26th. So this animation shows the build-up to the rain bomb event and the wind down, and shows Hurricane Melissa in the bottom part of the screen. Impressive vents develop at the rain bomb sites in Mount Dora and Titusville. You will see the incoming cold air front moving fast at 45 to 50 miles per hour at a height of about 45,000 feet as it approaches Florida from the northwest. This is a garden variety fall front, and it produces about 7 inches of rain maximum in the Panhandle. However, as it approaches the peninsula to impact the Gulf Coast, it disappears off the satellite as it runs into the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall is our name for a static mass of dry, warm air created by Melissa. Their Berlin Wall is about 50,000 feet high and 50 to 100 miles wide. The wide-bodied mass of moving cold air at the tip of the front is moving at 45 miles per hour and hits the static wall with momentum and sinks into the Berlin Wall, trying to resume its westerly path. The moving cold air tries to work its way through this static wall of dry air and searches for the path of least resistance, much like water flow, and it finds one major exploitable passageway, which is the Mount Dora vent, and there is also the Titusville vent and a smaller vent in Boca Raton. The Mount Dora vent opens this air mass trying to get out of the thick Berlin Wall, exploits that weak point, and jets out the cold air at high speed like an exhaust, maybe 150 miles per hour or more. The vent is at an elevation of approximately 24,000 feet based on the Band-Aid imaging. The cold air mass creates a muster point at the vent, and that pressure increases like pumping up a balloon and creates lift at the muster point. In addition, the ejected cold air at the vent lifts rapidly back to the 45,000 feet elevation after exiting the Berlin Wall. The high pressure buildup at the muster point causes rapid lift of the air column like inside of a hurricane, and that wrings out all the water in the air column and sucks in more moisture, creating rainfall intensities as high as 7 inches per hour near the vent, which is only about 10 miles in diameter. The vents are incredible to watch on these animations, as it shows the high-altitude activity which created the rain bomb in Dora, and this satellite has been operational since April 2025. After the band 13, the band 8 imagery is animated, and this shows the average temperature in the high part of the atmosphere, and all bands depict the same venting exhaust of a captured moving cold front, which came in at 45 miles per hour and had to find the path of least resistance to go lower as the cold air sinks into the warm air, but its momentum is so high that it does not mix and stay static, but flows like a river of air through the Berlin Wall and cuts a channel to a vent, which is picked up by the amazing technology we have today. Enjoy the rest of the animations to some music. The Dora vent creates a rain bomb in a very localized area within 4 hours. The garden variety front was mutated through the Berlin Wall to create localized high-intensity rainfall instead of distributed cold front rainfall. It was hard to understand and hard to explain. These images were provided by NOAA staff during the shutdown. This work will have to be reviewed by the federal meteorologists once work resumes.
शायद तेरे मेरे दिल में कोई और है अटकी हो। मुझे देख के चुप्पे में मुस्कुराए, बड़े बड़े गले चुप्पे में लाए। तू झूठी मुझे हकीकत बताए, तू भी पगली मैं भी पगला। जब मुझे तुझको देखे है छुप के, तेरी सहेलियों ने बता दी तेरी बात। तू भी पगली मैं भी पगला। ला 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 ला, तू भी पगली मैं भी पगला। ला 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 ला, तू भी பேசு நீ பேசு பேசு பேசு, முதுகோடு கைகட்டி கூடு கூடு கூடு. மயிலை இங்கே யாரு யாரு யாரு, நாயா கூவிது அங்கே வாடி 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 வாடி.
Sariyaka I'm now walking through the town center. These are the businesses. Well, this should be the road through the town. Yeah. These are the businesses. Melissa actually opened the doors to all the businesses. So there's just wide scale. People just going through, taking what they want. Because the hurricane had just run through the businesses with ease. So this is the middle of the town now, the business center of the town. That's Digicel. That's Digicel. Nothing is left. Nothing is left. These business people feel it. Christmas coming up and everybody is preparing. Come on, type people in place, brother. Oi! Let the people in place, man. I don't need for the up there, you know. I don't need for the up there. Come down, up there. Yeah. This used to be a building. I'm telling you now that I'm in the heart of business hub of Black River. These are the businesses in Black River. When they tell us that Black River is flat, you might not believe or understand what I am saying. This is a picture of Black River. I'm standing in the middle of the town center. This is the road, and these are all the items from the businesses where the sea just walk through the businesses and dump them on the road. So that's from one side to the other. From one side to the other. See? See? The storm just went through it, ripped aside everything that could be ripped through. Tore aside everything that could be torn through. People are kind of helping themselves. It's kind of sad as police there. We can't tell them, say, don't do it, because it won't make 1 ounce of a sense, because the place is. I'm going to show you the back of the building. I'm going to show you the back of the building, because this is the back of the building to the sea. Look at this. So just in case you can't enter from the front, look at this. This is the back of the building to the sea, and this is concrete. The storm and seawater actually lit down the concrete wall and walk right through the buildings. Literally walk through the building. So it's safe to say that the sea was this high. We're talking about 13-foot storm surge. It was this high. Not even the strong, firm concrete structure could have withstand the force of the storm. Everything. Fireman.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Boy. Everything completely flattened. Right? And that's the story for most of the businesses that face the sea. Flattened. Seriously flattened. See there? Walls, you're looking right through, straight through the walls to the sea. Where the sea just walk through. Some are actually walking on the rubbles in the town right now. See there? At the road this me should be walking on. There's actually rubbles. These are all. Yeah? So that's one of the ATMs. Somebody tried to get in there, but these things are strongly built. So I'm only then trying to get to, but I couldn't get to. Alright, this is it. People's businesses. The things inside the business. We're going straight out. Is it? This is it? Town of Black River. Windows smashed, buildings, flat, everything. People are just helping themselves. This a building was here. So now I'm looking straight through where the building was onto the sea. See, all you're looking now at rubbles. Flat. See them there? This is Black River. This is Black River. This is what's left of it. But as I keep saying, what's good is that there are no loss of life reported so far. Right? But this is it. People are just in the town helping themselves to what's left of the hurricane ravished goods. Yeah, that's a business. You're looking straight through it, straight through it onto the sea. The sea just walk through. So now a lot of thoughts are going to be put in place in terms of how Black River is rebuilt. Yeah. This is Quartz. Look at the Quartz sign. That's a pretty sign up there. Now we're going down to this Quartz store. Look at the store. That's straight through the store you're looking and into the sea. Yeah? And that's basically the situation. We're going towards now the Black River Bridge that leads you over the Black River. See? Look at the bridge. So there's no entrance and no exit. So we're basically in the town of Black River spinning. Going around the rubbles and spinning. Right? It's rough here. It's rough. Really rough. Really. What ATM did this somewhere about this? Which part is it there again?
Right there, Scotiabank.
Oh, that's so? Okay. Alright, gentle people.
Hello, sir.
I'm
Now only all are